God, that took a while, didn't it? You all right? Okay. Well, thanks very much for being prepared to listen to my shite. Thank you. I make no apologies for anything. Now, 20 years ago, right, I was finally released from prison. Felt a bit guilty about it because lots of my friends weren't being released from prison. So I made a promise to myself, really, in trade in my head for my freedom, that as soon as I was released from prison, I would begin to do everything I possibly could to legalize, re-legalize marijuana. That's all that was in my head. I did a number of silly things looking back. Like I stood for Parliament in 4 separate constituencies simultaneously. Because you're allowed to stand in more than one, but you're only allowed to sit in one, which is odd. Obviously, I didn't get in. I mean, have you tried getting a bunch of stoners to even register? And what the fuck would I have done if I got in anyway? So I'd have a skin up rather pathetically during question time. Propose that the House of Lords be turned into a perpetual rave club so that people could work when they wanted on flexi time. No. It was, and basically all I learned was that pretty much every politician I met, with the exception of 1 or 2, is a complete wanker. A lying wanker. And I knew that anyway, so I thought, no, fucking hell, this isn't going to do it. So I took the fight to the streets, okay? Started skinning up outside police stations. And when the winter came, I started skinning up inside police stations with very little effect. I mean, I would call them up. Like, Marylebone was a perfect example. I called up Marylebone Police Station. I said, "Oh, hello, I'm Howard Marks. I'll be turning up tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock, and I'm going to be rolling a joint in front of you." "All right, Marks." You know. So being a punctual person, as a smuggler has to be, of course, I turned up at 3 o'clock, you know. Police station was going on as usual. No one was taking any notice of me at all. Skinned up the strongest possible joint imaginable, all right, because I didn't want to risk getting busted with some shite fucking slate bar or something. It would ruin my street credibility within seconds. So skinned up the strongest possible joint I could. And getting a bit fed up of being ignored. And I said, "Oh, Sarge. "Yes, Marks." "This is the strongest joint in the country. I am a convicted drug smuggler. I'm going to light this up in front of you now and smoke it. Okay? Whatever, Marks. Lit it up, smoked it. I said, "Look, strongest joint, convicted, all right? Bust me, motherfucker. Go on, bust me." "Marks, would you mind fucking off? We've got serious things to deal with these days, you know. And I mean, you and your legalized cannabis stuff, just forget it, okay? Just fuck off, Marks." So I did, you know. I felt terribly dejected, you know. So, what the fuck was all this about, you know? And I walked out with a bunch of people who said they'd come in with me, but had bottled out at the last fucking moment, of course, you know. And I just walked through the crowd and disappeared, wondering what the fuck I was doing. I became very depressed. Right? How the fuck do I re-legalize dope? In fact, I became so depressed, I started reading the employment section of the Times. All right? I mean, there is no deeper depth of depression one could possibly achieve other than reading the employment section of the Times. Looking through it, there wasn't much interest in there. Then suddenly, a word caught my attention. That word was drugs. Advertising a job entitled
UK Anti-Drugs Coordinator.
The brief of the job, what the job entailed was
to eradicate all illegal drug trafficking within the UK.
well, I know how to do that. I know how to do that in a single fucking second. Just make them all legal, all right? Simple job, okay? But obviously, I thought, well, I might as well apply for it. So I applied for it. And obviously that entailed sending off and asking for the application form, which first required sending off and asking for information for applicants. This is what I got.
UK Anti-Drugs Coordinator, also known as Drug Czar.
Well, like AKA? You know? Well, the last time I saw that was on my fucking indictment, you know. A job with a built-in alias. I mean, do you know, does anyone here know the name of the first ever Tsar? He was called Ivan the Terrible. That's it. Ivan the Terrible, all right? And he was a fucking bad guy. He killed his own son. It was hardcore. I mean, his life is amazing. You know, I could go on about it forever, but, you know, he was fucking terrible, like, all right? And he was. So although there were many things I liked about it, all right? I mean, I've often been called a drug baron. And I've not minded that description at all, but I never thought there'd be any chance of any promotion. You know? Drug baron was fine, all right? But here was a job with a built-in alias and with a chance of promotion, all right? But because Ivan the Terrible was such a fucking horrible cunt, all right? I thought, at the very least, I ought to check with Ivan the Terrible as a role model for this job. I ought to check the salary, okay, at least.
As an expert special advisor to the current administration, the successful candidate will be offered a 3-year fixed-term appointment, carrying a salary of £73,000.
Okay, it doesn't pay like the old game, I know. But not bad, right? For a straight job with a built-in alias, which could be termed as promotion in some sort of way. All right? So, could look and see if there were any extras, all right? And found this interesting comment.
The post will be based in Whitehall and assistance up to a maximum of £5,000 will be available to help with the relocation of the successful applicant's personal effects from anywhere in the world to Whitehall.
Oh yeah, I got a container full of personal effects in Kathmandu. Bring them over, will you? I'd have fucking done it, diplomatic immunity, everything, but... So I was looking through all this information for applicant stuff, right? So it should be on the screen there somewhere. Things like pensions and stuff. I've done versions of the sketch before, and I remember doing one in Jersey with the first question, a heckler almost, what's the pension? I don't think this is this kind of audience, no. Now the real thing, is it on there? No, it's not on there, I don't think. There was a section entitled Core Skills.
Core skills.
That sort of voice. And under core skills, which obviously is the sort of qualities you need to be able to successfully apply for this job. Under core skills, it said,
this is a challenging, high-profile post operating within a sensitive and important area of significant public concern. You will accordingly need to demonstrate the following qualities.
And it lists 6 core skills that you've got to have, right? Otherwise, there's no chance. And I didn't want to waste anyone's time necessarily. I mean, perhaps they wouldn't allow Welsh people to apply. Perhaps they wouldn't allow convicted criminals to apply. I didn't know, what the job required, really. But I decided that if I didn't satisfy each and every one of those 6 core skills, I would not waste anyone else's time. It's only if I satisfied every one of them completely, properly, honestly, would I bother to apply. Otherwise, back to the employment pages of the Times, The first core skill was
political awareness and sensitivity.
Well, see, all that standing for Parliament bit would come in fucking handy now. Plenty of political awareness, sensitivity. Yeah, I hate the fuckers. How more sensitive can you get? So I ticked that one off. Right? Political awareness and sensitivity. Second core skill.
Proven leadership skills.
Okay, got to be proven, right? Proven leadership skills. Now, this is not an appropriate forum for me to show off in any sort of way, but I did head the biggest marijuana importing organization that has ever existed. They had the proof, unfortunately. So, okay, that's another box I could tick off. It's a third of the way through now, right? Just on 2 questions. The third core skill was
the capacity for strategic planning linked firmly to the delivery of results.
Yeah, they know that. They know that. They're always good at delivering. So like halfway through now, I began to take this seriously, all right? I skinned up a fat one. I thought, well, I'm getting there, The fourth core skill.
Negotiating and influencing skills, particularly in the area of resources.
Yeah, same thing, they know that. So I'm actually 2/3 of the way through now. The fifth core skill.
The ability to communicate effectively and dynamically through the media and to mobilize a wide range of audiences, including young people.
Any young people here? Which one am I on now? How many of us said? 5. So this is the final one coming up, right? So if this one I don't have, I have to forget the whole thing. If this one I do have, I'm going ahead. The 6th and final core skill was
credibility in the drug sphere.
So I sent off for the application form. Sorry, I got lost to the pages. Sent off for the application call. What did I say then? Sent off for the application form. It's much like any other application form, really. Okay. Usual questions, name, age, date of birth, all that kind of thing. One strange question, though.
Any other names by which you've been known?
They left one fucking line, all right? One line, not even use an extra page if necessary. None of that. One line for a job with a built-in alias already. Pathetic, really. Next section.
Education, professional qualifications, and other training.
See, I got more degrees than a fucking thermometer, right? But I haven't used any of them. And this was the first opportunity ever in my life that I could use my slightly impressive academic qualifications, right? So I just filled the whole fucking lot in, as you can see, with all bloody degrees and everything. Next section.
Career history.
Now that could be a bit iffy, okay? But see, all the time I was dope dealing, I was setting up fronts and money laundering companies and things like that, and each one of them would have to have a company director, a company secretary, or something like that, and I would often be that. So if you put it down on paper, it looks quite impressive, like company director. So I stuck all that bollocks down, okay? And then finally, they called it a question, but it's not a question, really. It's, I think it's a command. I think it's an imperative. Well, anyway, what they said was...
Reasons for applying. Please say why you are interested in the appointment and indicate the relevance to the job of your qualifications and experience.
See, now that's quite a hard question to answer, right? All right, satisfied those criteria, but now, how are they useful? Why, what use can I be with these criteria? So, this is what I said, okay? First of all, I used the biggest font possible, because there's quite a big space. Then I thought, fuck it, I'll use the smallest font possible and put in as much bullshit as I could. So, but it doesn't take too long to read out. My own experiences in the study of illegal drug transactions began at the University of Oxford in the early 1960s and were continued at the universities of London and Sussex. Shortly after qualifying, I was recruited as an agent by MI6, the British Secret Service. I'm naturally hesitant to detail my drug-related work during this period, but presumably the Parliamentary Secretary for the Foreign Office is empowered to show you any relevant files. just fucking try it. Suffice it now to state that for over 20 years, I was intimately connected with illegal drug trafficking in the following countries: Wales, England, Scotland, Eire, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Holland, Portugal, Morocco, Kenya, Lebanon, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Canada, United States of America, Colombia, Jamaica, and Mexico. In many of these countries, I worked closely with senior law enforcement. Forging long-lasting professional and social relationships. I have been granted unique access to many clandestine illegal drug processing plants. For 2 years, I worked for the Home Office. It was actually as a T-boy in A-Wing in Brixton, but I thought if they go for the fucking Foreign Office thing, I might as well check the Home Office thing in, so bollocks, really. For the first half of the 1990s, I was employed by the United States Department of Justice and permitted to enter the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Convict section, and allowed to teach incarcerated drug traffickers. I did that for 7 years. I can keep down a job. At the same time, I posed as a marijuana addict and entered a drug abuse program to familiarize myself with the problems of denial and recovery. I've written a book on illegal drug trafficking. It has sold over 1 million copies in Britain, has been translated into 9 languages, is still a bestseller, and is available from... No, I didn't. I have written articles on drugs and crime for almost every national newspaper. For 5 years, I wrote a monthly illegal drug-influenced column for Loaded. I've appeared dozens of times on all major TV and radio channels as an expert on illegal drug trafficking, false passport acquisition, and money laundering. I regularly give talks and lectures at rave clubs, music festivals, and a wide variety of other venues. I would gladly risk and even sacrifice my life right now to achieve the eradication of all illegal drug trafficking in this country. I am 100% committed. Got a reply, yeah? I got a reply.
Dear Mr. Marks, Cabinet Office Anti-Drugs Coordinator, thank you for your application to this post. The selection team have carefully considered it along with all the other applications. And I am sorry to inform you that we were unable to include you among the candidates who were invited for interview. May I nevertheless thank you for your interest in this post and for taking the trouble to apply. I hope that your disappointment will not prevent you from applying for other positions which the Cabinet will advertise in the future.
So, I still got a chance, yeah? Thank you very much, yeah. Thank you.